show that we're going to be trying out some whiskeys tonight. And as Erik has set it up very beautifully, we have some whiskeys that we're going to taste. We're here in Erik's garden with a lovely fire happening. You might let us know if you can hear us, if you can see us.
Yes, feel free to use the chat.
Mm-hmm. Chat is already active. Sound works. Thank you. Yes, hello. Oh, good.
This is April weather, so it's still not as warm as we would like, but because of the fire, I think we'll be okay tonight. Yeah,
I think we'll be fine. And we're very lucky, I think, with the weather, with no wind. It's still bright out. It's very nice.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So if this is your first time here, which I don't think anyone here, I think everyone has been here before, but what we've been doing is, as Lexxus Sprachenservice, we've been doing some live streaming. Myself and Guido did it back in
last year,
the first lockdown. And we had a lot of fun. We did some pub quizzes and we had some music and it was great. Myself and Guido did one last week and we also had a lot of fun. And this week it's myself and Erik. So we'll be doing some whiskey tasting. Yes, right?
Absolutely.
But we'll also be doing some music and we'll also be doing some pub quizzes and some questions and some learning as well. That's the plan.
The plan is we want to learn and have a little bit of fun.
Yes.
We call this mixed word in English edutainment.
Edutainment.
It's a mixture of education and entertainment. And that is the goal. If the English level is too easy for you, then tonight you will learn about whiskey.
Yes.
And just enjoy yourself. We will try to speak slowly and hope that you can learn something tonight. Yes?
That's exactly it. And also, if we speak too quickly, you can always put in the chat and ask to us, yes, to slow down or repeat the word or talk louder, or if we're too loud, to talk softer. But we hope you have a nice evening. I think we're going to have a nice evening. And we're going to start you off with a song, a very, very, apt song, I would say.
Like a fitting song.
A fitting song.
Should I give you the guitar?
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you all so you can follow along with the lyrics. Now, that should be it. Oh, that fire is great. Thank God almighty. Okay.
Should we say the name of the song, or we just go for it?
Well, I guess people might know the song. I take it a bit slower. I still have the Metallica version in my head. It's a very, very famous song by a very famous band called Thin Lizzy. And it's now been put into the Irish traditional music. Everyone should know it, and you should sing along with it at home. The lyrics are up on screen, so let's have a bit of fun. 1, 2, 3. As I was going over the Cork and Kerry mountains, I saw Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. First produced my pistol, and then produced my rapier. I said, stand and deliver, or the devil, he may take you. Mushroom, da-ma-doo-ba-da. Whoa, here we go. Whack for my daddy-o. Whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar-o. I took all of his money, and it was a pretty penny. I took all of his money, yeah, and I brought it home to Molly. She swore that she loved me, and never would she leave me. But the devil take that woman, yeah, you know, she tricked me easy. Mushroom, da-ba-doo, da-ba-da. Whack for my daddy-o. Whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar-o. I'm gonna move this out of the way so I can read the lyrics. Oh, they're here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now being drunk and weary, I went to Molly's chamber, taking all my money, but I never knew the danger. For about 6 or maybe 7, in walked Captain Farrell. I jumped up, fired my pistol, and I shot him with both barrels. Mushroom, dabba-doo, dabba-da. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Okay, I'm sure you all are used to this by now, so we're going to get to the last verse. This is the sad one. Some men like the fishing, and some men like the fowling, and some men like to hear a cannonball a-roaring. Me, I like sleeping, that's true, especially in Molly's chamber. But I'm in prison, here I am, with ball and chain, yeah, mushroom, da-da-doo, da-da-da. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Woo! And that's what I'm sure everyone at home is going mad right now. Thank you, Eric.
I have 2 questions for you, Conor, about this song.
Okay, hit me with them.
What's a jar?
A jar. Well, in Ireland, a jar is we'd say, let's go for a jar.
Is that beer?
Well, we would say beer, exactly. Let's go and have a drink. That's another way. But there's another meaning of the word jar, which is, do we have one here? No, we don't, do we?
No.
So what is it? What's the other meaning?
The jar does fit if we talk about gardening, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You have a good year and you harvest a lot of, for example, tomatoes. I get a lot of tomatoes, and it's so many tomatoes I can't eat them all. So I want to save the tomatoes. And to do this, you want to put it in a glass jar. The jar can then be closed tightly, no air inside, and then the tomato sauce, for example, that you make from it, you can use for cooking in the wintertime to get that fresh tomato taste in winter. That is a jar.
Beautifully put. If anyone doesn't know, Eric is a fantastic gardener and makes many, many great things here in the garden. And I'm sure you have many jars.
Yeah. I do. Yes.
Well, yeah, great. So that is what a jar is. The song, as I said, was written a long time ago, and Thin Lizzy made it massively famous. And
I think Americans also, like in the South and stuff, drink rum or beer or even whiskey from jars.
Nice.
Yeah, that way they don't need to buy glasses.
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of whiskey, there's a pub question that I'm going to ask, or that we're going to share with you.
It's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one.
Connor's going to get it up on the screen. I'll add a little bit to the fire here so we don't get too cold.
Right. So the first pub question of the night, what does...
Is it share?
We have a question.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Heike says, what does Eric Honecker do with you?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I'm a fan of Mr. Honecker because he has the same name as me. I'm Eric and he's Erich. And this garden was built in the GDR times. And I see this something like my little garden museum a little bit. Yes. So I thought it would be a nice representation of GDR, and I hope it doesn't offend anyone. Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah.
Also, I think he looks great.
Oh,
I like his glasses. I'm a big fan of it. Okay, so let's move to the pub question. First one of the night. Here we go.
So this is something that I might hear often from when I was a kid. Yeah. My grandpa having something to drink. He would say, "What's that?" He would say, "It's grandpa's cough medicine. You don't want it."
What is cough medicine?
Cough medicine normally is what you take medicine for when you have a cough.
When you cough.
Yeah.
A lot of people might think it's kaj
Cough.
or koch, but it's cough
Cough.
with an F at the end,
Yeah,
even
we
though
have-
it says GH.
We have funny spellings in English.
Yeah.
And yeah, kids don't like cough medicine,
Yeah.
although now they add sugar to it. Yeah, but normally in the past they didn't like cough medicine, and so if you don't want your kids to know what you're drinking, you say you're drinking cough medicine. So, is it A, Jägermeister?
Which could be a type of cough medicine, really.
I think, yeah.
You know?
B, whiskey? C, rum? Or, of course, naturally, D, water.
Mm.
So just quickly throw up a letter in the chat for those of you that have an idea what this could be. What could it be?
So think of maybe what you tell your A. Jägermeister, says Heike.
Heike says it's Jägermeister.
Think of what you, yeah. Well, let's think of the theme for this evening, firstly. But also think of maybe if you're drinking something and your grandchild or your child comes up to you and they ask, "What are you drinking?" And you don't want to tell them what you're drinking, so you say that it's cough medicine. And Jägermeister is Barney says, "I think it's whiskey as mouthwash."
Whiskey as mouth.
It doesn't
That's
sound
good.
too bad, to be
That
honest.
is good.
Yeah, I know people that would do that. You know. Speaking of whiskey, let's open this. We're gonna allow you to put in your answers, and we're going to keep on top of what you say. Let's drunk my grandpa.
So what do we have here, Conor?
Well, what we have here is a lovely single malt Scotch whiskey. Now, Scotch whiskey, what does that mean? Where's it from? If it says Scotch whiskey, thanks.
Let me help you out.
If it says Scotch whiskey, what does that mean? Where's it from? Good. Very nice, Heike. Very nice. Burra. Oh, yeah, very nice. From Scotland, exactly.
That's right.
That's it. Scotch whiskey is from Scotland.
You said here that this is single malt.
Mm.
So what's that?
Single malt is that there are no other additives to it. It is just one single strand of whiskey taste. It has not been added. It's not been put into different casks.
Yes. Key vocabulary word that we don't have a slide for, but could be helpful in if you like whiskey is barrel.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Barrel
Mhm.
is what the whiskey ages in.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
kann man gar nicht fassen.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh wait, oh yeah, fass. Yeah.
Right. There
Barrel,
you go. Yeah.
right?
Nice.
So very often the whiskey you see in the store, the price might help you decide if it's a good one or a bad one, or
Yeah.
yeah, the quality.
Yeah.
So I know that in Scotland the rules say all whiskey must be in a barrel for 3 years,
Mm.
after 3 years, it can be mixed and blended with other whiskeys. This is cheaper. And so then you might see on the bottle blended whiskey. But when it says single malt, well, we know that it's the pure stuff.
It's the good stuff, for sure.
So shall I pour you a dram?
Absolutely. So while Erik is doing that, let's give the answer to the question. The question was, what does Grandpa's cough medicine refer to? Was it Jägermeister? Was it whiskey? Was it rum? Was it water? And of course, the answer was whiskey.
Big surprise.
Big surprise, exactly. So let's maybe, what we can do is, I know it's very unfair because you're not able to taste this with us, right? But I think what we'll do is we'll give it a taste, and afterwards we might say how we feel, if we liked it. If anyone has tried a Scotch whiskey before, you might put into the chat of the way you might describe it. Yeah, so is it...
Describe, yeah. So we're looking for adjectives here.
Adjectives, exactly.
Adjectives describe things.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we'll cheers, and we're going to taste the whiskey, and then we'll describe it afterwards.
Now, before you taste,
yeah, tell me.
This is Scotch. This is important.
Yeah.
Some rules here.
Please.
No ice.
No ice.
It's an absolute no-go for a single malt. Yeah, if it's the cheap stuff, do what you want.
Yeah.
Mix it with Coke.
Yeah.
But don't ever do that with a single.
No.
Now, taste is not only the tongue, it is also the nose. If you're a wine connoisseur, if you like wine, you know the same thing. You start by smelling it. So let's do that first.
Absolutely.
What are we getting here?
Well, I would say fruity. Absolutely. A very fruity smell to that.
It does have that.
Doesn't it? Also very important, I'm sure you all know as well, is when you're drinking whiskey, is not to swirl it. You don't need to swirl whiskey. Wine is different. You need to swirl the wine, but with whiskey, you don't need to swirl it. It's really just allowing those aromas to go into your nose and enjoy. So we're going to enjoy.
So we've got fruity by the smell. Let's see what the taste gives us, yeah?
Cheers.
So cheers. Getting a hint of smoky. Could be the fire too, though.
Could be the smoke from happening from the fire. Smoky, yeah, sure. I would agree with the word smoky for sure. Let's not be too pedantic about it, but but I think that it's definitely a fruity. Yeah, maybe. Yes. Well, what do you think?
Oh, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to see what I don't have the best. I don't know if my palate. Yeah, palate is a word for tasting on your tongue. I haven't trained in a while. Yes.
No, Erik hasn't trained in a while, so I think we need another taste.
Yes. It still has that. Is there like a citrus aspect there?
So yeah, there's a bit of citrus. Yeah,
a bit of zest. Zesty.
Yeah. It's very, very damp, but it's definitely there. It's also incredibly smooth. I would say for sure.
What's smooth?
Oh, smooth for sure. I mean, smooth can mean a lot of things. Well, not a lot of things, but it can describe lots of things. So let's say I can say this surface of the table. Well, kind of smooth.
Should be.
Smooth is well, we can say it in German, so weich. Yeah, right. So it's something of that's easy, that goes down easy, that is not harsh, it doesn't burn. Smooth is very, very I would say.
I mean, think of burn is a good word. Yeah. If you've had a whiskey that's we just call it cheap whiskey, it burns going down. But if it doesn't burn, it just feels nice.
Yeah,
that's smooth. That's what you want.
That's very smooth now, let's be honest. Burra also just put in that yes, you can add water. You can.
Just a little bit.
And One of my biggest memories, and this is maybe where myself and Eric will start going down little paths tonight of talking about our memories of whiskey. And one of my biggest memories, Eric, is I used to gig with a real old school jazz pianist, a guy that played piano, and he was maybe in his 60s. And every gig, every concert that we would do, he would have a Guinness. So he would get a pint of Guinness, and then he would always get a little bit of whiskey. And with the little bit of whiskey, he would use some water, dilute it a small bit, and then use that as a chaser. Right?
A chaser.
A chaser. So maybe some of you know this. So the word chaser means it usually refers to whiskey or rum. I guess it can just refer to a spirit. And it's what you drink after your beer. So a chaser is to what goes down the hatch, down the throat.
Nachkippen.
Yeah. Afterwards, exactly. And that's a chaser. I'm just going to have a look. I can confirm that, Barney. Good, wait. I'm just going to have a look at the
comment. Yeah,
at the comments. Exactly. There's a lot of things happening, which is great.
Okay.
Wow. Excellent. Okay, so we had from Scotland, good. And then they were saying about the single malt, which is from one whiskey cask. Exactly. Barrel. How many shots are you planning? Yeah, just expectations on the quality of the show. Thank you, Guido. Genau. I also thought after Eric poured this lovely,
it might have been too much. Yeah.
a generous dollop of whiskey.
Well, these glasses, you see, they're not proper whiskey glasses. We didn't have the luxury. They're normally a little bit. They have this round shape to it, and you put, we would say 2 fingers. Yeah, 2 fingers is 2 centiliters of whiskey. Yeah, or even less if you're just tasting. But we figured we would we want to be able to get through the 3 kinds that we have here.
Yeah, true.
So,
so cheers once more. Cheers, Eric.
Cheers. Perhaps you might want to show them.
I have to now. Let's be honest for a second now. That's very nice whiskey.
Yeah.
I have to say a big thank you to my soon-to-be parents-in-law, Edith and Heinz Rink, for my 30th birthday. They gave me this lovely Scotch whiskey, and I have to say that is very, very nice. Yeah, goes down smooth. 100%.
Yeah, it's always the best. Well, some of the adjectives we use to describe the taste, we do have. I don't know. We want to put it up there. We have a list of some ideas. They're not all the words, but something that can help you when you want to talk about how the whiskey.
If you can talk afterwards.
If you can talk. Yeah, we'll see by the time we get down the line.
We still have half an hour to go.
Yeah.
So as you can see on your screen now, you can see that there are a couple of words to be able to describe the taste or the experience of whiskey. And erfahrung mit, your experience with. Good. So we have, as you can see on the screen, we have a couple of words. Now, this is where it gets interesting. There's words on this list that have like, let's take the first word, cream-y. What does the Y indicate? Or how do we make an adjective that can, from like what you can see on the corner of the screen is we can have noun plus Y equals adjective.
I think that's a really cool feature of English.
It's really cool.
I've tried it in German. It doesn't work.
If you put mäßig at the end of German, mäßig, sometimes maybe. That can be.
Yeah, but what's cream in German again?
Sahne.
Sahne. You can't say Sahne-y.
Sahne-y.
That doesn't work.
Aber Sahne-ich.
Sahne-ich? Yeah. Here we have lots of adjectives or examples for whiskey, but a classic one is rainy. And in German, it's like regnerisch, right? So there's no happy, easy pattern. There are many different ways. But with English, it's really cool. most of the time, not always, you can add a Y. So you have the example harsh. You can't really say harshy.
Yeah.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, true.
But
yeah.
or darky. You can't say it's a darky whiskey. But you can say it for many things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I wonder why, though. I don't know. Do you know? I'm not putting you on the spot.
No.
I mean,
those are one of those classic questions of why.
Yeah.
I always say the language gods have spoken.
Yeah.
It just sometimes there isn't always a good meaning.
Yeah, they're just putting in like
examples.
Cremig,
Of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess IG would make the same kind of
right. Yeah.
The same meaning, I guess. Yeah. So I guess what we said, I mean, well, we said smooth, but you can't say smoothie because smooth is already an adjective.
That's why.
You know what I mean?
Smooth
Dark
is
already
an
adjective.
Of course. See,
so
we
maybe
have to think it.
There you
think
go.
It through here, yeah?
Excellent. So
if it's already adjective, you can't add a Y. But if it's just a noun and you add a Y.
I'm glad we're both here.
Yeah.
This works. It always
We're only native speakers.
No, there's no I in team. So exactly, as you can see on the screen, we have many words that you can use that noun plus Y equals adjective. So we have the first one is creamy, and you might call maybe a Bailey's or a Bailey's, or a coffee creamy. Yeah, you can call a whiskey creamy. I guess I haven't experienced many.
I can't think of how.
Yeah, I haven't experienced many creamy whiskeys. I don't know about you.
No, I can't.
No, me neither.
But speaking of whiskey,
yes. Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
There's an important thing we need to discuss here, and
yeah.
Well, the next one we want to taste, we're gonna go for the Beam.
Yeah.
The Beam or Jim. This says on the bottle, Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
Yes.
Whiskey, spelled the correct way. WHISKEY. Now, what does it say on your Scotch?
Well, let's look at the Scotch. Whiskey.
I know you can't see it from here, but believe me.
Yeah. So you have to believe us. So this one says single malt Scotch whiskey, but spelled WHISKY. It's missing a letter.
It's missing a letter.
Now, let's before we go on, let's just, I want to say also, I have some Scottish friends, and there's always this debate between Irish and Scottish people, whether or not whiskey with an E or whiskey with an EY is the correct spelling.
There is. And we can expand this debate because we're talking British versus non-British,
exactly,
or American too. So the Irish would not really be considered British, or they definitely wouldn't. Well, they're closer to us Americans. We have a good friendship. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
But I have heard.
Please.
I don't know if it's true.
While you're talking, I'm going to.
Why don't you pour it out this time? I've heard that the Irish invented whiskey.
I like Erik a lot. I love that. Did I ever tell you that?
Oh yeah. The Scots don't like this, and no one really knows who is correct. But because I prefer to spell my whiskey with an EY, I have to say that the Irish invented it so that I can say it's the correct way. This is my logic, you see.
I would wholeheartedly agree. The idea of the spelling really, I think, and again, I probably should have done maybe a bit more research about this, but is the different native languages of the Scottish and the Irish. We have Gaelic and we have Gaelic.
Yes.
And with Gaelic and Gaelic, although there are many similarities, there are many different spellings in both languages for similar words.
Right.
And I think this is really where the Scottish maybe don't use E as much as the Irish do in Gaelic.
That's interesting.
Now, again, people on Facebook, people here in Zoom, you can tell me otherwise, but that is something that from my understanding, that would be the correct.
I mean, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think so. Let's go with that.
Okay.
But okay, before we continue though, we have
palate cleansing real fast.
Palate cleansing, absolutely. So again, people that have joined us, welcome to Lexxus Sprachenservice. We're doing the late night pub talk with myself, Conor and Erik. We're here in Erik's garden in Magdeburg, and we are doing some whiskey tasting. Again, you can always interact with the chat, or is it using chat, either in Zoom or on Facebook. Would love to hear what you have to say about your experience with whiskey. If you have any questions about what we have said so far, or on the theme that we're talking about tonight anyway. And also, if you feel so inclined, if you would like to, we have a donate button, which you can donate for us lowly poor English teachers that have taken a hit, but just maybe to support us in whatever way you can, whether it's the price of a coffee or whether it's anything more. It's not necessary, let's say, or it's not. It's not a requirement. It's not a requirement, but it's of course an option. So you have the option to donate through PayPal, or you have the option to donate through the Lexxus website, which is Lexxus. Hi, hello.
Bist du allein?
Ich?
Ja. Willkommen. Wir haben einen.
Ich habe geguckt, aber ich komme nicht rein.
Nee, Englisch.
Ich komme nicht rein. Hm?
Aber wir sind mittendrin.
Ja.
So. So, sorry about that.
All good. So we have now another Zuschauer. We have a lovely person that's going to also watch us from afar. So
Yes.
it's not so online. We have now someone that is watching us in person. Anyway, if you would like to donate, there are options too. Let's move on to the bourbon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is called bourbon, which is, of course, an American whiskey.
Yeah.
We have to see. Can we do a good job or not? We have to ask the professional here.
Well, let's say that more often than not, when you ask for a whiskey in a bar, and you can also tell us in the chat how you feel. You usually look for maybe a Scotch whiskey or an Irish whiskey, and a bourbon. Yes, some people do like bourbon, but it's usually used as a mix.
Yes.
In, let's say, whiskey sour.
Bourbon is more known for mixing with Coca-Cola, for example, or
any type of soda.
Whiskey sour is actually a nicer one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're gonna be strong and drink it straight.
Absolutely.
It's allowed to put it on the rocks or with ice.
Absolutely.
When it's bourbon.
Yeah.
But we don't have ice. So.
No, but it's recommended.
So shall we?
Cheers.
Okay.
There's a reason why they put it on the rocks. There you go.
This is a difficult one to.
Yeah. How would you maybe describe that, Erik?
Woody?
Woody is definitely, absolutely.
I think we could say woody.
Yeah. There's a bit of an earthy taste to that, no?
Earthy. That's also. Earthy is like if you take dirt and eat it.
Put it in your mouth and allow it to dissolve in your mouth. But I mean, not saying, actually, to be really honest, I'm pleasantly surprised about how that tastes.
I mean, it's not bad.
No, it's not.
Well, when it comes to bourbons, even, see, this is, well, we have the saying, I have all the friends in the world, Jim, Jack, and Johnny.
Jack Daniels, Johnny Walker, Jim Beam.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yep. So those are the famous brands of American bourbon. I think I actually prefer Jack Daniels. And then they have like the highest quality stuff. They have single cask, which is like a single malt, or black label, these different more expensive stuff, and that is nicer to drink unmixed. But Jim Beam is more meant for mixing. It comes from Kentucky. Kentucky is the whiskey central, kind of like Scotland is, or the Highlands of Scotland are. And their main, as most whiskey makers, they always say that the river that flows near them is the reason for the taste. Yeah. But there's also a difference in the aging process. It's not as long. So the barrels for bourbon is maybe, I don't know, 1 year, maybe. So they still need to age the whiskey. Sorry, a train's coming. I hope you can still hear me. This happens here in Gardens. You all know this. The barrels are used, and then it's a leftover. It's an extra product for the whiskey makers in America. So what they do is they send these barrels to Scotland.
Oh yeah, you did tell me about this. Yeah.
And so the barrels make their way to Scotland, and that's where the single malts end up. But 12 years, 15 years, 18 years. Yeah. So it doesn't ever taste like bourbon in the end. But this is what happens.
I would say actually for a bourbon, it tastes, anytime I drink bourbon, let's say it's Jack Daniels or Jim Beam or Johnny Walker, it always tastes, and now it makes a lot of sense, it always tastes young.
It's a young whiskey.
It's a young whiskey. It tastes like it hasn't got to know itself yet. You know, it's still kind of going, yeah, I'm tasty, I work, but there's just this tiny kind of thing where there's something missing. I think that's why it's used as a mix.
Yeah.
You know,
it's right.
Cheers.
So, what do you prefer then, Scotch or bourbon?
Well, I think the smoothness of the Scotch really, right? And I think although the taste of the bourbon, like this Jim Beam actually has a lovely. I do like the taste though. It's not bad in any way, I think.
It just, for me, it burns more going down.
You have to be a bit more careful with the bourbon, I think.
We're going to chase that with a beer.
Indeed. And I'm just going to look. Bourbon will produced from corn. Yeah, exactly.
Corn mash.
Yeah. Heike, exactly. You're completely right.
Of course.
Yeah.
And rye, I think, is also.
And exactly. Isn't bourbon a French dynasty?
I think the French are more cognac. Oh, no, that's from grape. So, no, cognac. Cognac is French, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Well, cognac is definitely French for sure. Guido, you might ring us and let's like Napoleon.
Oh.
Well, Guido, now you're just confusing us. I have no idea.
Guido.
Yeah.
Guido doesn't know.
Guido's on Wikipedia right now going, or thinking back to a book that he read. Let's see what he says. Guido, I have every faith in you that you do know what you're talking about, but because you're not here, unfortunately, we can't. Maybe the others here know more. We'll see.
Is it still on sharing on the screen?
No, it's not. No.
Good, because otherwise it's too small for them.
Absolutely. No. It's back to us as a lovely. It still looks great. Again, if you've arrived, I'm just going to look. Wow, we have 12. Wow, hey.
Good job.
It's so great to see all of you here. Like Beata is here, Barney is here, Burra, Detlef. Hi, Detlef. Haza, do you know Haza?
No.
Anyway, Haza, nice to see you. Heidi, and then we have someone on a Lenovo.
Oh yeah.
Tablet, exactly. Ursula. It's great to have you here. It's really nice. It's always really nice to have people, especially for these pub talks, is to have people involved, to be here, and to be also engaging in the chat.
Absolutely.
And it's really nice.
I do have a not a quiz question.
Oh yeah.
General question.
To me
watching. To the people watching.
Okay, good.
So Guido spilled the beans a little bit.
Oh yeah, true.
Spilled the beans, by the way, is what is that in?
Yeah, to give away the ending.
What is that in German? To spill the beans. To I knew it, but I don't know it. It's
I have no idea. Actually, I've
spill the
never-
beans is when if there's a
Mhm.
secret, something you don't want people to know about,
Mhm,
but you say it by accident.
mhm,
Oops,
mhm.
you spill the beans.
Yeah.
Die Bohnen überkippen.
Überkippen.
Doesn't work in German, yeah.
I have no idea,
So,
but I'm sorry.
And
anyway.
and said that we will be having a whiskey tasting tonight,
Yeah, that's true.
and this made your quiz question really easy.
That's true.
But it maybe has a good side. I want to know, did any of you decide, I will drink a whiskey with you? Is
Ooh.
anyone tasting some whiskey at home right now? That would be interesting for me to know.
Absolutely. I mean, me too. And also, even if you aren't right now, aus dem Nähkästchen plaudern,
What? I have
aus
to
dem
read.
Kästchen.
Aus der Nähkästchen plaudern.
Plaudern.
Nähkästchen.
Burra, excellent. We can do it now. Exactly. Heike, that is maybe I believe that it is. It sounds. I mean, auf dem Nähkästchen plaudern.
Plaudern is to plunder.
Mhm.
To plunder the box of Ernährung, I think. Like
So.
the food box.
So. Okay. Yeah. You guys are miles off. From what do you mean, Guido, we're miles off? Miles off the, I don't like whiskey. Okay, Ursula, that's fine. You don't like
Yeah,
whiskey?
that's okay.
No problem. I would also, if you're a non-whiskey drinker, I would always suggest getting a bourbon like Jim Beam or Jack Daniels and mixing it with cola. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. It really
Well,
is.
the whiskey sour is actually quite good.
The whiskey sour is
Which
excellent
is
as well.
like lemon,
Zest,
sugar,
yeah,
and soda water. I think.
exactly. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah,
So I think we've
plaudern is like talking casually. So
plaudern, nicht plaudern.
nee, plaudern ohne Umlaut. Aus dem Nähkästchen plaudern.
That's why we're so far off.
Yeah,
okay.
right. The Nähkästchen is a sewing box.
What? That makes no sense.
Nähkästchen. So cool. Okay.
To talk freely. Oh, because you mean people like sewing
Yeah.
and they start talking.
Yeah. Exactly.
That-
Perfect. That's great. Anyone want to come on and tell us how to say that? Nähkästchen oder Nähkästchen plaudern? Guido, maybe you want to come on and unmute and tell us how we say it? We have no plaudern in our language, Erik. There's no
What?
plaudern.
What's plunder then? I thought it was.
Guido
Yeah,
is
Conor,
coming.
can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, can you say again? German?
Näh-
Because I like to rate you again. You know, I so much
okay.
rate
Nähkästchen
you.
plaudern. Plaudern.
No, plaudern was good, yeah. But the sewing box.
Nähkästchen plaudern oder plaudern.
Yeah, Nähkästchen plaudern. Aus dem Nähkästchen plaudern.
Aus dem Nähkästchen plaudern. Okay, good.
Very good. So at least you learned some German tonight.
Guido, the unending teacher, teaching us how to speak as well. Thank you, Guido. Beautiful.
So I think it's time for the
Yeah,
true test.
I think so.
How can the Irish, if they've invented whiskey, can they also make it good?
Well, I mean, to be
Compared to
honest with
Wisconsin.
us, like, let's be honest, when I'm an Irishman and we are very proud of the fact that we invented whiskey, or at least make the best whiskey. There is always a Kampf, there's always a fight or a war between the Scottish and the Irish. I also feel that this might be a losing battle tonight between this very nice.
That might have been our mistake. We started with the best,
Yeah,
but I
That
don't
was
know.
my
I've
decision.
never tasted. I need your help here because this is a good example of trying to pronounce Irish
Sure.
places. So you can't read it. So I'm sorry, but I try it to read Tyre Connell. How close was that?
yeah, that's actually perfect. Tyre Connell.
Hey,
I mean, you can't get that much wrong, to be honest with you, but you did a really good job. Exactly. You went Tyre and then Connell.
Connell,
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, it's also a single malt. It's an Irish whiskey. Does it say how many years? No.
No, it's also not. It doesn't say years. Often in single malts, they tell you the number of years, and of course, the longer it's in the cask, the more full-bodied taste that it has.
For sure. Okay, so we're coming now to the last whiskey of the night.
Well, maybe. No, just kidding.
The last whiskey that we will show you that we are drinking. I have to say I'm very comfortable here in this with this fire. It's beautiful. We are always very, very happy to do these pub talks and to engage with English learners, as myself and Erik are both English natives, or English speaking natives at least, and then and now we learned the language of German. It's always so rewarding to be able to share English with people that want to learn how to speak it as well. Yeah. So we're glad you're here. Basically, that's really what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beata has arrived. Excellent. Hi, Beata. Okay, good. So,
okay, let's give this one a try.
So this is the Irish single malt.
Irish single malt.
Tyrcon.
But that doesn't have much aroma.
Now, so let's, even though it's a single malt, the Irish whiskies usually are put into I know it's a single malt, but I have a feeling that mostly the Irish whiskies they go through different distillery processes than the Scotch one. And so the Irish is always more, let's say, mild. Yeah, so not so strong, not so woody, not so harsh.
Mild, okay.
Yeah, mild as the Scotch whiskey. So let's try.
Let's give it a try.
Sláinte.
Sláinte. It's that aftertaste. I like it.
Oh, that's lovely. If I don't say so myself, that's very nice.
I'm afraid to say it, but is there a bit of peatiness in there?
I would say that it's mostly peaty.
Peaty. I was right. Okay.
Yeah.
What is peat?
Well, I think you as the gardener have to tell us about the peat.
The funny thing is, I know it. It's in my head. I think. Wait. Is it torf?
This is torf.
Torf, I think. And English peat. And peat moss is quite common in Ireland and Scotland. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And they use that for burning the still.
Still?
Sorry, not burning is not the right word. Right, for the heat for the still.
Absolutely.
By the way, that's actually a good vocabulary word. What is a still?
This is actually something I want to be able to answer, but I have a feeling that I might answer it incorrectly. A still, as a noun.
Yes, the noun, as a noun.
Well, maybe someone online can also give their opinion on it. Maybe Guido. I'm sure Guido has some opinion on something that we've done.
Well, is it
the last
a tip for you, Connor and the others? The place where whiskey is made is called a distillery. So it's in the name of another.
Still. Is it a place where things are left to be fermented?
No.
I was hoping that long-awaited would be a yes at the end.
No.
It's not. No.
Fermenting takes place in something called a vat.
Okay.
It's like a really, really big swimming pool, let's say.
Okay.
When you've fermented, when you're making whiskey, it's like making beer almost. It's not too far off. And you get, there's all these fancy names. Yeah, the wort. It's not so important, but what you get is this mash of low-grade alcohol. So we're talking beer levels, or 8 to 10% maybe. And then you take this, and when you heat it, make it hot, the alcohol evaporates. Now, water boils, not cooks, but boils at 100 degrees. And then you get the steam. But alcohol boils at, I think it's 80 degrees, lower temperature. So you're separating alcohol from water is what you're doing. You only let it get to 60 or 80 degrees, let's say. And the still is the device that you do this in.
So it only gets the alcohol.
So the alcohol evaporates away from the water, it collects, and then it comes out the other end of a condensation tube, and then you get pure alcohol.
Wow.
Well, not 100% pure. They usually do the process more than once.
Okay.
And then that's what goes into the barrel for aging.
And so that's what a still is.
That's what a still is. It's made of copper normally.
Learning every day, learning something new. I mean, I knew that, that with distillery and stuff like that, I mean, of course, that has to do with the word still, but that's really good information. Maybe some of you had already known that. If not, oh, here we have, wait. Still is the copper thing.
Yeah, copper.
Where they heat the stuff. Nice, Burra. I don't know who you are, Burra, but I really like you.
Who is it?
I'm not sure. Burra, Burrath, Burra. But yes. Steffi, no way. I hope is it Steffi as in Steffi from our reading clubs on Thursday? Yeah, Steffi, so nice to have you here. Steffi is one of the, for me, one of the most for a German non-native English speakers, Steffi is one of the most advanced that I've worked with, for sure.
Wow.
She's also a forensic scientist, if I got that correct. Steffi, maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
That's cool.
But she really is, she's really fantastic. And again, and maybe this is a time to talk about the reading club that we have every week for different levels. If you're interested in reading a book with myself or Guido, right?
Guido.
I don't think you're on the reading club.
No, not
okay.
yet. Yeah.
So we do a reading club every week. So we read a book for 6 weeks. So you can always include yourself in that. And Steffi is one of the advanced group, and we are doing Shakespeare next. And I'm looking forward to that. So it's nice to have you here, Steffi. And I hope the Beata that is also here, I think Beata is also one of my students in the advanced group, which is nice. Anyway, yeah, that's a.
So I'll say one final word about whiskey. Now, Conor might be thinking, Erik, how do you know this?
I ask that every day.
Yeah. I mean, I like to read Wikipedia, but I don't always remember those things. I remember from experiences. And I went to Scotland one time.
Oh, yeah.
And I had the opportunity, as maybe some of you have,
and
to go on a distillery tour. Or I was in the Highlands, the Scottish Highlands, and we stopped at a few distilleries, and the Scottish people are very proud of the whiskey, and they really want to show you how they make it. And it's such an interesting process. And then one of the distilleries, it was Glenfiddich, great whiskey, offered a free tasting afterwards.
Oh God, that's dangerous.
And that's where I first truly learned how to drink Scotch, because us terrible Americans drink our bourbon with ice. Yeah, and they said never do that. And they showed us how to properly sip. And from that moment, I thought, oh, I have to honestly say my favorite is the Scotch. I do like the Irish, but Scotch. It's from the experience for me. Yeah, to go to Scotland
for sure. For sure.
To learn this.
To be honest, though, even as an Irishman, I would prefer to drink a Scotch sometimes. You know, I mean, there's specific Irish whiskies like Bushmills, my favorite for sure. I was also with Guido for the language tour. We went and took a tour of the Bushmills distillery.
Oh, I also did. That's funny.
When did you go?
Too. Well, not with Guido.
No,
on my own trip. Yeah.
Ah, your own trip. Okay, nice. Yeah, so we went and it was great and it was excellent. We also drank like tasting whiskey at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's very, very cool. And I almost lost a student once on a language trip to whiskey tasting. Nice, Guido. Well, myself and I think Uta at 9 o'clock, I think Uta might be 60, 68, 60, somewhere close to 70. And we got there at 9 o'clock in the morning and we had 4 or 3 whiskeys in front of us.
Oh my.
And we just tasted it and it was beautiful and it set us up for the entire day. It was perfect.
I wanted to do the same thing, but the problem was we were driving.
Oh,
And so you can't really,
no.
you have one taste and then.
Well, look, actually, what I'm saying is now let's finish our Irish
Mhm.
whiskey because we're going to finish off with a song. Yeah, we're going to finish with Whiskey in a Jar once more.
Absolutely.
Mm,
I think I want to, since we just talked about Scotland,
sure.
I want to have another taste of
Yes,
Scotland
of course you can.
to help me sing.
For sure.
Do you? No, you'll be playing, so you can have some after. Or
Okay.
should I pour you a little bit?
You can pour me a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so thank you very much for everyone who has joined us. Thank you to everyone on Facebook who's watching. Thank you for everyone who's here on Zoom. Thank you to Guido. Thank you to Eric, of course. And we're going to finish off with this. I hope you can sing along at home. And we assume that you will.
Should we put the lyrics up for them as well?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
And then
Yep.
put it-
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me just get that up now. Okay. Yes, it's
So
perfect. There we
Connor's
go.
getting it going.
There you go.
We're going to sing it out for you. Yeah. So once we finish the song, we'll call that the evening. So again,
Exactly.
also from my side, thank you very much for joining. It's been a lovely evening. I
Of
hope you've had
course.
some fun.
And I hope that people also have learned something from this evening as well.
Absolutely.
And again, as we said from the last time, if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see, for what you'd like to hear more of, you can always let us know either through emailing us or contacting Guido or myself, whichever is easiest. Okay, so I think now we're okay. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. You're going to sing along with me, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, everyone too. As I was going over the Cork and Kerry mountains, I saw Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol and then produced my rapier. I said, stand and deliver, or the devil he may take you. I took all of his money, and it was a pretty penny. I took all of his money, and I brought it home to Molly. She swore that she'd leave me, never would she leave me. But the devil take that woman, yeah, you know she tricked me easily. Mushroom, da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack for my daddy-o, whack for my daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar-o. Now being drunk and weary, I went to Molly's chamber, taking my money with me, but I never knew the danger. for about 6 or 7. In walked Captain Farrell. I jumped, fired off my pistols, and I shot him with both barrels. Mushroom bim, dama-doo, dama-da. Whack for my daddy-o. Whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar.
That was that thing.
Some men like the fishing, and some men like the fowling, and some men like to hear a cannonball roaring. Me, I like sleeping, essentially in money's chamber. But here I am in prison, here I am with ball and chain, yeah. Whack for my daddy-o. Whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Woo! Thank you very much, everybody. See you next time. See you next week.
Bye.